Will it be yay or nay? Bahamians now know the questions they'll have to answer in the referendum 25 days from now.
And beach vendors plead for their livelihood, which could be in jeopardy. Find out why.
Guess who's still celebrating? The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
We now know the two questions which will be put to the electorate in a referendum on gaming 25 days from now. Good night, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Candino Knowles. Last evening in a national address, Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage revealed the questions and explained what will be asked of Bahamians and what preparations are being made for the rare national event. Jiminita Swain reports.
For weeks now, we've been waiting to hear exactly what those referendum questions will be. Many have speculated, but last evening during a national address, the minister responsible for parliamentary registration, Dr. Bernard Nottage, revealed them.
On the ballot paper, there will be two questions for this particular referendum. The first will be, do you support the regulation and taxation of web shops? The second will be, do you support the establishment of a national lottery? And people will be required to vote yes or no.
Dr. Nottage notes that persons have about 2 weeks to register to vote.
People have to be registered, properly registered, and for this particular referendum coming up, all those people who were registered for the May 7th general election are eligible to vote in this election. In addition, if there are young persons, for example, who became 18 since May the 7th and were not able to register then, they can now register and vote. And if there were any citizens who decided that they didn't want to participate in the general election and didn't register and they want to register now, they can. But the cutoff date for registration is January the 10th.
And even though people will be voting, there will not be election agents, but election observers.
There are no election agents in the referendum, but the Referendum Regulations Act makes provision for the minister to select a maximum of 3 persons per polling place who will be permitted to be in the polling place during the course of election day for the purpose of monitoring the process and ensuring the fairness of the process.
He says leading up to the January 28 referendum, government is expected to launch a number of public service campaigns to ensure that the public is fully versed on the questions and the referendum process. Jiminita Swain, ZNS Network News.
Now, Bahamians are reacting to the announcement of those questions. Today, our Fern Carey took to the streets to gauge public sentiment on an issue which has evolved from a clandestine pastime to a constitutional question.
Gambling, I say, pay off my little bills and stuff when I win. Little $800-900, I can pay my rent, I can pay all type of stuff with this money. You see what I'm saying? I'm not doing nothing bad with the money, doing something positive for the money, paying my bills and stuff. But that's the good stuff they do. They haven't paid any poor people bills.
Yes, it's the only way out. I don't think you need a referendum to vote on the website, because that's just a business where you're supposed to lease computers, all right? And you can use computers how you want to.
I'll vote yes to the referendum.
It ain't no sense we going to Las Vegas to gamble if we could gamble here. You see, that's what I say.
I'll vote yes, because it helps the people who don't have a thing in their pocket. And furthermore, you separate the money. If you have some for the church, for the church. If you have some for you, give a chance, take a chance, and I vote yes.
No.
Why?
Because too much of the money then would go to the foreigners, to the casinos. They'll be able to play poker, they'll be able to do online betting, etc., etc., etc.
Now, the minister responsible for parliamentary registration, Dr. Bernard Nottage, also explains that Bahamians at home and abroad will be allowed to vote in the referendum, as was done during the election.
We will have an advance poll for those persons who may be living outside of their constituency or maybe outside of their constituency at the time of the election, just as it was for the general election, including overseas voters. People who live overseas and wish to vote, if they are registered, can make application to the Parliamentary Commissioner. There's a special form that they must sign, a Form K, and if they sign that form and get it into the Commissioner by the 10th of January as well, then that person can be placed, provision can be made for them to vote in some nine places around the world, in London, in Ottawa in Canada, in Atlanta and Washington, and Miami, in Jamaica, in Trinidad and Tobago, and in Barbados.
So,
Well, thank you, Keisha. We had a pretty warm day around the 700 Islands, but outside of our studios just now, we have a temperature of 73 degrees under partly cloudy skies, relative humidity 69%. Those winds are out of the east-northeast at 3 knots, your barometric pressure 1,018.4 millibars. That's 30.07 inches. And that's it for now, but stay tuned. We still have the Family Island temperatures, boating, and travel weather forecasts.
New developments coming out of the national insurance saga. According to reports, Prime Minister Perry Christie has asked the board's chairman, Gregory Moss, to resign. This after Moss penned a statement Tuesday evening contradicting comments made by the Prime Minister in relation to a credit card and alleged freewheeling within the organization. The Prime Minister told reporters on Boxing Day that Moss was not in possession of the credit card, but Moss said he was, although it was not being used while an investigation is ongoing. Minister with responsibility of national insurance, Shane Gibson, yesterday clarified the matter, stating that he had told the Prime Minister that he gave a directive for Moss not to use the card, and yesterday Gibson had the credit cards appointed to Moss and Director Algernon Cargill, who is on administrative leave, cancelled. He added that he was disappointed with the release that Moss made. We spoke with Minister Gibson this morning, and he opted not to comment on whether or not the Prime Minister has asked Moss to resign, noting, though, that he has not received any official letter from Moss as yet. Going forward, he said if Moss does resign, naturally a new chairman would have to be appointed. Outside of Cabinet today, Prime Minister Perry Christie did not go into much detail on the matter, but told reporters that he and Moss spoke privately on the matter.
No, I'm not discussing that. Can you just confirm I just made a private communication, Mr. Moss, full stop. I have to go.
But can you say beach vendors in Cable Beach are fighting back against the idea that they could be out of the picture as the sprawling Bomar project takes shape. They've apparently been told that they won't be able to work from the area eventually. They approached Prime Minister Christie outside Cabinet about the issue today, hoping he'd intervene and save decades-long livelihoods.
Beach vendors on Cable Beach are up in arms after they were told they will no longer be able to work from that area behind hotels on the Strip, which will soon be the new Bahamar Resort. Spokesperson for the Cable Beach Vendors Association, Helena Pinda.
The head of management from the Wyndham and the Radisson, the Sheridan, is telling us we cannot be on the beach anymore. Okay. It's a job we created for ourselves. And we school our children through this. We feed our children through this. And now they're telling us we cannot be there. We have no place else to go. We got to feed our children. They telling us we can't be on the beach. We went to the water line and they tell us we got to leave. We went into Mr. Sands. He told us he don't have a problem with us. Do you have any problem with the girls? No. Never had a problem with any of the girls. So why are you moving us? He gave us no explanation why he's moving us.
Now we are told those vendors have been at that site for more than 20 years. Today, the group of vendors brought their concerns to Prime Minister Perry Christie outside of the Cabinet office, hoping for a resolution. He spoke briefly with them and plans to meet with the vendors at a later date.
He assured us that he would speak to the people and see what he could do about it. This type of treatment is very unfair. This is all we know. This is what we do. We have repeated guests that comes in. They comes just to look for us, and now they're telling us we can't be there. Okay. That's bad.
These vendors were also denied access to the beach property. When we visited the site today, many of them were sneaking through a side entrance in an attempt to sell their wares for the day. Now, the vendors did have a building to house their goods, but it was reportedly taken away, and they are now apparently forced to set up shop alongside the shoreline where they have now been banned.
If they take this away from us, what are we supposed to do? The unemployment that is going on in this Bahamas now, what is there? Who's going to hire us anyhow? Come on, be real. They have to do something. Come on.
These vendors hope that the government can intervene as soon as possible.
The answer is now, because we need to get back to work now. Yeah, we got to get back to work.
Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Well, Bamar's senior vice president has responded to those claims made by the beach vendors that they'll no longer be able to work along the beach behind the hotels on the Cable Beach Strip. Here's what he had to say.
We started discussions with these braiders and vendors back in September of this year. We've had multiple meetings with the braiders and the vendors, Straw Market Authority, Ministry of Tourism, advising them that come the 31st of December, we would have made arrangements for them to go to the straw market across the road so that there's a level playing field for all patrons to utilize the Arts and Crafts Center. This is part of our bringing order to the beach on Cable Beach. And
well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, the Say Yes campaign launches. We've got the latest coming up.
And the Saxons still celebrating their New Year's Day win. More news still to come.